Happy New Year. It is a new year, and I'm a week late to join in the race. And one of the reasons why I'm um, late to the race is I had a health issue that held me back. It really distracted me and made it quite challenging to make a commitment to go live at any particular time. So I didn't want to fake you out by posting that I was going to go do a live broadcast and then not show up. The good news is I'm on the mend and everything's back to normal. It was never life-threatening. It was just extremely painful. So as we get through today's session, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. And some people may not like that phraseology, but I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to check in with yourself around your goals, your major definite purpose, your big, hairy, audacious goal, your C goal, your stretch goal, whatever the heck you want to call it, and help you find a way to move it from a New Year's resolution, which if for example, if you go to the gym and make the commitment to work out and be physically healthy, at the beginning of the year, if the gyms were open in a traditional pre-COVID existence, it would be difficult to get on the equipment, the parking lot, etc. As time goes on, there's more room in the parking lot, and the wait time for gym equipment is shortened, if there's one at all. And there's a reason for that. We're creatures of habit. So stay tuned. I'm coming back to that topic, and I'm going to give you a tool that you can utilize throughout the year and check it out. Check it out for like 21 days and see if it makes a difference. So hang out with me for a bunch of minutes and see what I got in store for you. But in the meantime, I wanted to jump into one of my favorite books and get to start all over. Unfortunately, you guys, if you don't have a copy of this book by my buddy Brian Monahan, have missed out, as I've had the opportunity to read it because I have a copy right here. Look, copy right here. I can read it anytime, regardless of what pain I was in. And today's is actually January the 8th. So I picked that one as a starting point. So here we go. It's really simple. And it's an Aesop quote. And this will make sense when I talk about what I'm going to talk about today. No act of kindness, however small, is ever wasted. Brian, the curator of this wonderful book, says, kindness is the equivalent of a perpetual delight machine. And I don't think I could agree more with Brian. So not much to say, except for I'm grateful. I'm truly grateful for the people I have in my life. Near or far, they've helped raise my bar. As I was going through my health challenge, I was, as I mentioned, in a great deal of pain. And it's just a form of arthritis that got in the way. And you don't have to be old to get it. It can happen to anybody, depending on your lifestyle and your genetics and whatnot. So the good news is I'm on the mend, and I was telling my friend Kellen, who's here, yesterday when we were talking, I was like, I can dance a jig. And she got the joke before I could finish it because she's quite creative that way. And I said, it's amazing. This thing, I sent an email to the doctor. It's like, thanks for the medicine, I'm able to dance a jig. And the joke is basically because of the pills, because before I couldn't dance a jig before I got the meds. But anyway, it's a groaner. It's probably a bad dad joke. So let's jump right into what I want to talk to you about. Many of you have probably set some goals or are thinking about setting goals. And so what if you have goals? Well, goals are like, they're turning your dreams and wishes into something that's really meaningful and specific that you want to go after. And it helps put your thoughts, your mind into gear and looking for clues and ways to make that happen. And what I wanted to introduce to you today is something that I refer to as diamond mapping. And there's 4 key areas that we're going to address. I'm just going to see if I can share the screen here with you guys. There we go. It's working. So really, it's a simple process. You do this. You draw a cross on a piece of paper. In your journal, speaking of journals, I didn't bring mine up here, but I do a reflective thinking journal. And just to go off a bit of a segue, last night was one of the best sleeps I've had in quite a long time. And I had a very lucid dream that was very vivid and almost really real, except for as in dreams. I don't know if it happens to you, but to me, sometimes the things that pop up, the storyline kind of doesn't make sense. But regardless, I had this vivid color, full of emotion dream. And I wanted to make sure I didn't miss this. So I wrote it this morning when I woke up. Obviously, it wasn't in the dream, but I wanted to recall the dream and what were some of the feelings and sensations I was having. So some of the things were around restrictive thinking, and I'm not as flexible and as adaptable as I'd like to be. So as I'm moving down my journey, my own life path, trying to figure out what it is I want to be again when I grow up, and I'm a 65 year young person, and a man actually, and I just want to make sure that whatever's happening for the duration of my life is I'm doing something on purpose that has meaning and value for the people I get to hang out with and for myself. So the value today is to do a reflective thinking journal. Do that, capture your thoughts, because now I have the opportunity to go back and reflect on and see what the trends are in my own life and see what's showing up, so I can decide if I like what it is, if I want to change it, or if it's unimportant or not. So those 3 things will allow me to make better decisions for me, for the balance of my life, and move me towards my big, hairy, audacious goal, my stretch goal, my major, definite purpose kind of goal. So getting back to this cross, looks like a game, but it's not a game. It's real simple. It's so simple, but it only works if we use it. So let me explain it a little bit more. So this one here, if I don't know, eraser, get out of there. Got this new app I'm learning how to use. Can you see that? For some reason, it thinks I want to erase it. Let's let it erase. And we'll try this again. So over here, we have, that's an and sign, by the way, an H and an F. So what that stands for is health and fitness. So that's the one point. The next one is relationships. And that's both personal and professional. To the right of that, on the other end of the axis, is career. Whether you're self-employed, working for somebody, or some other combination of that. Maybe you're doing both. Maybe I have a hybrid where you've got a side hack and you've got a job, or you're a full-time parent and part-time entrepreneur, or you're a full-time parent and a full-time entrepreneur. It doesn't matter. That becomes your career. And then last but not least is the financial aspect of what you were trying to do. Coffee in the morning is great. You know what? One of the things that was happening for me, bit of a tangent, when I was going through this painful health issue, it was really difficult to make a cup of coffee because I couldn't get to all the pieces in that, because I had to crawl around. I couldn't walk, but the pain in my foot was so excruciating. But the good thing is, I'm so grateful for the people I have in my life that pushed me and inspired me and helped me figure out how to get some things sorted out. Sounds a little weird, perhaps, but without my buddy Joe Norcott, I might still be reeling in the pain. Okay, let's carry on here. So health and fitness at the bottom, relationships on the left side, career on the right side, and financial freedom on the top. Where the lines intersect is a 0, and the outside of the axis is a 10. And there's gradients in between each one. So I'll just, for sample, put a bunch in there. So the idea behind this is, and this is only up to you to determine where you're at. 'cause you don't have to share this with anybody. It's really irrelevant. It's only relevant to you. And my calendar's kicking in, telling me what I'm doing, and we're going to get rid of it. So again, it's only relevant to you. So where are you at today? Where do you feel you are at? All right, between 0 and 10. What I would get you to do is draw this out and play along with me, just so you can see what it's like. You got a sample moving forward, and actually, I have an offer for a free offer, by the way, at the end of this. So if you stay then, you'll hear what the offer is. So moving along here, so you decide that you are let's change the color just so we can see it. You're say a 7, so you put an X there, and maybe you're only a 5 in the financial. You don't have to put the 5 there, you can if you want. Relationships, you're let's say a 7, and health and fitness, and so for the health and fitness one, for me, and part of what was wrong with me was a health issue I've mentioned a couple of times. So I am now probably, a day or two ago, I was like way down here, like closer to, pardon me, that's wrong. Who put that in there? That was me. I want to erase just that. See what happens. Okay, let's go put the line back in. I was the wrong end of the spectrum. I was closer to a 0. And today, I would say I'm closer to a 7 for me. So what I want to do is use where I was at, for example. So we'll continue using red. And what I've created there essentially is a diamond. And the idea behind this is to check in with yourself where you feel you are right now, right at the moment. You can do this any time of the day. You can do it several times a day. You can do it once a week, once a month. Wouldn't go any longer than once a month to check in with yourself, and I would encourage you to do it more frequently. But whatever works for you, check in with yourself, because it's all really matters. Is where are you at in your diamond map in all of these areas? Because here's the key. What you want to do now is decide where would you like to be in an ideal world if you could invent and create all of the resources that you need. And let's say you wanted to be out here somewhere. So I'm going to use green in this case. And it doesn't matter where you are. Let's change this one to there. And then what I would encourage you to do then is join those points. Now, where the magic comes into this, for those who draw better, you'll have a nicer looking chart, but it's really not about the aesthetics of it. It's checking in with yourself. And how do you feel about where you're at today and where you'd like to be in your ideal life? So looking at the two different diamonds, you can see the shapes are different. So the idea behind this simple concept is to manage the gap. What do you need to do to go from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow? And write all those things down, and then start looking at ways to make that happen for yourself. That's why I encourage you to do this more frequently than once a month, but as a minimum once a month. The more you do this, the more focus and creative energy will show up in your life, and the faster you'll be able to get to your new number and grow beyond where you're at today. And that's the magic of setting goals, is giving you something to look forward to. There's many people that talk about starting with your ideal end result first and then grow into it. Well, this follows that doctrine as well. It's a way for us to check in with ourselves to where we're at. So health and fitness at the bottom. And the reason, a couple of years ago, even though I've been using this approach for a number of years, it never dawned on me the significance in the order that these are put together. And I learned this because I'm part of a company that is in partnerships with Brian Tracy. Now, Brian Tracy, I don't know if you've heard of him or not. You may have heard of his content or his quotes or his information and not even known he said it. But if you were to go Google Brian Tracy, you'll see multiple millions of posts. If when you do the search at the top, there's the number of bits of information on the topic that you're searching. Well, he's in excess of 1 million. I think it's a couple of million or so. He was so he'd been a thought leader for 3.5, 4 decades thereabouts. And I first met him way back when I was younger guy, 3 decades ago. And lots of information that he's brought to the marketplace to help people. And this is one of the simple things. I used to be a believer in that we needed to have a wheel of life and make it symmetrical as best we could. But that required more spokes, and working with entrepreneurs that are very pragmatic in their thinking, and then the wheel seemed like woo-woo stuff and too much for them to think about. So after being introduced to this approach and delivering this and helping my clients see this and get the value out of it, it's so simple. People don't believe it until they try it. I'm now a fan of this because it's simplicity to make change happen. So this is what we call a diamond map. And it came from my learnings from Brian Tracy. So I'm gifting that to you. If you're interested in getting a little bit more information in and around this, just shoot me a direct message in Facebook, or if you have my email, which I can show you here shortly as I stop sharing the screen. It's right there. Kellen, did you see that? I pointed to the wrong. I was the bad weatherman. I was pointing to this. That doesn't tell you much, but this is where you can send me a request for the segment on the diamond map, and it goes into more detail than what I've done here. And you'll get a diamond map that you can R&D. It's research and development in most people's worlds, but one of my mentors says, rip off and deploy. So if you would like a copy of the method session on diamond mapping, so you could read a little bit more about it. It's not a ton of reading. It's about 2 or 3 pages. What is interesting, though, is that you'll have a nicer diamond map to utilize and get in the habit of assessing where you're at from day to day, week to week, month to month. But if you decide to do this, do it as frequently as you possibly can. I mean, sometimes you might want to do it 2 or 3 times a day. You can do it on the back of a napkin, like if you're at a Starbucks one day, or your favorite coffee place. It could be Tim Hortons for some of us in Canada and parts of the US. Just use a napkin and write on the napkin. It doesn't have to be perfect. Or if you're doing a creative journal, reflective thinking journal, you could put it in there and check in with yourself and see where you were day to day, week to week, and then do a comparison. Are you growing or are you declining? Because if we're not moving forward in growth, we're decreasing or declining or dying, metaphorically, as a human being. So just like the dream I had today, which was very vivid, and lots of great stuff came to me out of that, and realized that as much as I like to think I'm open-minded, flexible, and adaptable, I'm not as flexible and adaptable as I would like to be. So that's one of my big, hairy, audacious goals this year, is to be more childlike in my thinking and be more adaptable and flexible in assessing things. It might be a challenge for me for a little bit, but I'm going to work on that as a goal and an affirmation. And when I set my goals, I set them as if they're already done today. So I start acting like it and moving towards it and becoming that person. But that's another subject for another day. So I see there's a few people that have made a couple of comments. Let's go see who's here. Hey, there's my good buddy, Kellen. I was talking to her yesterday, and some great things we talked about. So I'm glad she's in my life. Here's another buddy I met through the experiences of last year. He's quite an interesting dude, high energy, high achiever, gets shit done. Speaking of getting shit done, this man here, oh my God, he's got so much shit going on. And it's good shit. It's not that bad shit. I mean, if you've watched George Carlin do the routine on shit, it's quite hilarious. Well, the kind of shit that Randy does is shark shit in a good way. He makes shit happen. He makes things move forward. And I'm thinking that Eric's suggesting that positivity is a plus thing, or maybe the cross is he's thinking about the diamond map. Let's go see. He's got another comment. When you know what you want and where you're at and how to get there, life can be good. I'm going to say that's pretty close to my doctrine too. The only thing I would change is if we know how to get there already, maybe the goal's not big enough. Maybe it's not a big, hairy, audacious goal. What I would challenge everybody to do is to identify what you want and then identify why you want it and stifle the how, and you'll invent the way to get there. You'll go to places you've never been before. Because if you already know how to do it, it's not really a stretch goal. So just something to think about. Is one of the things that I follow. I've made numerous things come to existence in my life where I had no idea how the hell I was going to do it. And many of the people that I follow, study, and believe in have the same belief. We don't need to know how to do the thing. We don't know how to do it. We just know we want to do it. I have many, many examples. Maybe that'll be a topic specifically. It's one of my favorite topics. If you know what you want and why you want it, and stifle how it can turn on the inspired imagination to invent and innovatively find a way to the end result you desire to get to. So thanks for that, Eric. I'm going to make sure I do talk about that topic this month. I think it's one of the mindset goal-setting hacks that we could use to move towards whatever it is we want to do. And I'm being asked here, can you do the splits? Yes, I make great banana splits, but I tend not to make them because it creates a problem in my health and fitness goals, because it puts too much sugar and too much weight. But I can't do the physical splits at this point anymore. As a younger fellow playing hockey and being a goaltender, absolutely, I did the splits. It was one of the things that made me very effective in that sport. Thanks for asking, Eric. And here's a fellow. I don't know if you are still a Toastmaster, but that's how I met Terry. He's an interesting dude. He does a lot of video recording. He actually went to the same place that I did. He went after I did, and he went pre-COVID, which is, so did I. But I went the fall of 2019, and we both went to Portugal. And I went there for a mastermind group because of the people I were hanging out with. I could not, that's a double negative, which means it's positive. I had to go. I mean, man, it was the people that were there and the opportunity to hang out with these thought leaders who have clients around the globe. And we all had an opportunity to hang out. And we did our masterminding at different places, like masterminding group sessions on the beaches they're not called bistros. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, were they tapas, or that's the food? Anyway, the lanes and the architecture and the cobbled roads and the beaches and the people were unbelievably wonderful. It was terrific. Yet Portugal was fantastic. Oh, I gotta wait. I'm jumping the gun here. I'm reading the notes before I share them. Let me move on down. Actually, Terry is a very good shit. Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I like hanging out with him when we get an opportunity to do that. And Eric's got a lot of happy faces going. He's laughing his ass off. That's awesome. Humor and laughter is some of the best medicine, except for when you have a pain in your foot and you laugh, it aggravates it. But after that, it's wonderful when you've got people supporting you. Hey, Happy New Year to you, Eric Bam, and to everybody who's here watching this live, or if you watch it on the replay. And if you do want a copy of the section of our curriculum that we utilize to help our clients and friends do the diamond mapping, just send me a DM or send me an email. I'll get you a copy of it. The DM needs to have your email in it so I can actually send it to you. That would be awesome. And Terry's talking about, want to go back. Yeah, I do too. I mean, for the little bit of time I was there, I only saw a very small part of Portugal. I believe you stopped and toured in a couple of places and actually drove from Lisbon down to Faro. I believe that was your experience. Anyway, yeah, I agree. It was totally good. Took many pics and some videos from there. You know, Terry, I should have you come on as a guest, and like we could do a discussion, a talk, and a visual of some of the places you were at in Portugal and some of the lessons you might have had, and we can share it with my audience and let them experience Portugal vicariously through your videography and some of the pictures we've created. I'd be excited to do that someday, maybe on a Friday next week or the week after. Look at that. He's an international experienced Toastmaster. Yeah. You videoed that, I think, Terry. And yes, you also drove to Seville for several days. Fantastic also in Seville. Also, Seville was one of the names for a popular Cadillac a few years back. Look at that. I've got Terry interested, and we're going to make this happen. So I'll connect the dots to make the show with Terry and I talking about and reminiscing about the experiences we've had in Portugal and share some real good maybe we can get snippets of the video. If not, maybe what we'll do is just have some pictures and we can talk about it. I have some wonderful stories about Portugal, how I was so excited in having a conversation in Montreal. So I went from Calgary to Montreal, and in Montreal, I connected with one of the other people that was participating who I'd hardly ever known before. But we got off on a tangent of talking about some wonderful things. We were sitting right by the gate where we're supposed to get on the plane and carry on. Well, we had to overnight it because we missed our plane. And the lessons we learned from all of that experience and the trauma that we could have had, but because of the way we reacted to the situation, we were delayed, but we did get to our destination. And yeah, that's a really interesting experience. And having a yes attitude made it happen. So Terry's jumping on. He's going to do that. He has some very good branding and marketing experiences from there, and he was absolutely flabbergasted by never saw anyone use here. Wow. Let's dive into that, because the Business Renovator, the three key words for us are sales, marketing, and mindset. So that fits right within the scope of things I like to talk about and share the information. I am so happy and grateful that I was able to be live with a few of you today. I was so looking forward to starting this off at the beginning of the week, but I was laid up in some awful pain. But as you can see, I'm not in pain anymore. I might be a pain in somebody's butt, but I'm not a pain anymore right now. It's still on the mend, but I am more mobile. So I want to say I'm thankful and grateful for you popping in, making your comments. And if you like what this is all about, please share with other people. Let them know I'm going to be here on a more regular basis at 9 a.m. Mountain Time for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, thereabouts, depending on how the flow of it goes and if I have a guest or not. So if you have an idea or a concern in and around sales, marketing, and or mindset, shoot me a note and we can have that addressed either by myself or I'll bring in somebody else who's more knowledgeable and skillful in that area. Until we meet again on another live stream or some other place along our journeys, I wish you much success and a wonderful day and a wonderful life. And I spell wonderful with a U. People might think it's a spelling mistake, but it absolutely is not. I do it with purpose. One of my mentors from many years ago shared that with me. It made such an impact. So when you think of wonderful, use a U, because you are wonderful. Till we chat again.